I got the DJI Neo 2 last week, and this is my honest review of it. I'll cover its key features and also some mistakes to avoid while using it. Hi everyone, and welcome to Dan's Destinations. I use drones to film some of my videos, and I recently got the DJI Neo 2. This is a quick review of it. I bought the drone with my own money, so I'm not sponsored, and this is my honest opinion. I got the original DJI Neo last year when it came out, and it was a great and versatile selfie drone, but there were some weaknesses. In this review, I'll mostly focus on the key differences between the Neo 2 and the original Neo. My video will cover using it without a controller, including its quick shot modes and obstacle avoidance. I'll also cover using it with a normal remote controller, the FPV Motion controller, and in manual mode. Out of the box, you can see a few major differences. The Neo 2 is slightly bigger than the original Neo. One major upgrade is that it now features forward LiDAR obstacle avoidance sensor for low light and a 360 obstacle avoidance sensor. This is extremely useful if you intend to use it as a selfie drone. There's also a display for you to see what quick shot mode you're in and the custom settings for the quick shot. The original Neo only had an indicator light to show the mode. Also, the battery has been redesigned, so you can't reuse the old Neo batteries. It now uses a top-loading design, and it can be difficult to remove without touching the obstacle avoidance sensor. Additionally, the Neo 2 now requires a transmission module if you want to use the FPV goggles or remote controller. This will give you an increased range of up to 10 km on FCC mode. However, it now has two external antennas, which can be bent or damaged. The previous Neo did not require external antennas, and I find this to be one of the disadvantages, especially since it was meant to be a selfie drone and easily portable. The Neo 2 is slightly heavier at 160 grams, versus the original Neo's 135 grams. It's still extremely light and great as a travel drone. The rest of the items are pretty much the same. It still uses the same goggles entry and the FPV Motion controller tree like the original Neo. Or you can buy the pack with the RC entry remote controller or use the RC2. On first activation, there's a lot of new firmwares to update for the drone, goggles as well as the controller. The latest firmware also enables manual or acro mode on the Neo 2. The camera is pretty much the same, with both sporting a half-inch CMOS sensor. However, the Neo 2 comes with a larger aperture of f2.2 versus the original's f2.8. This should let in a bit more light. The Neo 2 also records in 4K 60 frames per second versus the original Neo's 4K 30 frames per second to give you a smoother shot for high-speed footage. Overall, I find the video quality to be much improved for the Neo 2 versus the original Neo, with less compression in the video. A major improvement is that it comes with a 2-axis gimbal versus the original's 1-axis. This new gimbal smooths out the roll in your footage, which reduces the crop when using image stabilization, something you'll notice as the Neo 2 doesn't have such a compressed image. EIS crops in your footage to stabilize the video, but results in a more compressed image. Also, for downward shots, you'll see a smoother image. The original Neo had a very noticeable roll during high winds while shooting downwards. Unfortunately, you still can't manually adjust exposure using the app. When you fly with the app or smartphone, you will always be on auto exposure. You can only adjust exposure when using a remote controller or FPV goggles. You can fly the Neo 2 using preset quick shot modes or control it with your smartphone. This is similar to the original Neo. Out of the box, the Neo 2 has the original 5 quickshot modes available. However, you can use the DJI Fly app to add additional quickshot modes to the Neo. After this, you can access the additional quickshot modes on the Neo without the DJI Fly app. Once you've added it, you can select it on the drone using the mode select buttons without needing the smartphone.
Spin off. Spin on. meters. Rocket. 3, 2, 1.
There are several new quickshot modes available. The dolly zoom is a technique first popularized by Alfred Hitchcock. It is done by pulling the camera back while zooming, allowing for the parallax to convey surprise, shock, or fear. However, since the Neo uses digital zoom, you'll find that your image gets very compressed at 3 times zoom. I recommend using the 2 times zoom instead. Master Shots was first introduced in DJI's premium drones like the Mavic 3, so it has been a great addition to a budget drone like the Neo 2. This is a great feature for travel vloggers as it allows you to grab a wide variety of B-roll shots in a single take, and you can now do it without a controller.
Circle and close. Ascend with level shot. Camera down and circle. Droney. Pitch up and fly forward.
The follow function on the Neo 2 has also been enhanced to provide a dedicated ski follow and bicycle follow mode, but I didn't get a chance to test the ski follow as it's not the snow season. The next test was using the follow mode with palm control. This is a great new feature as it allows you to reposition your drone without the need of pulling out your phone to use the DJI Fly app. This is something I previously had to do with the original Neo. A potential mistake I noticed is that if you wave to your drone, which is common when you are taking a selfie shot, it can trigger the gesture control. So do be aware of this and avoid waving. Another new feature in the Neo 2 is that you can control the location it follows you from with this wheel on the smartphone. If you use a remote controller, there is an option for an inner wheel and outer wheel. My second test is using the follow mode while running through a park with trees. Here I had both the original Neo and the Neo 2 chasing me. The Neo 2 performed well, especially with the obstacle avoidance, while the original Neo also performed well. It got held up by a tree, but it didn't smash into it despite not having obstacle avoidance. Hi, so I'm about to do a test of the Neo 2 through this crowded forest area, so we'll see how well it does. The weather is a little bit gusty at the moment, so it may affect this test, but we'll see how it goes. My third test was making a run through a more dense forest trail, but before I do that, a quick purchase of the DJI Care Refresh insurance. There's a small creek next to the trail, and if it hits a tree, it could go into the water, and I don't want to lose it so soon after buying it. My initial run was through this trail with dense brush on either side. Further on the trail, there was an even more narrow path, and the base of the plants had pools of water. I was quite pleased with the performance. After this, I tried deliberately walking the Neo 2 into trees and obstacles, but here the obstacle avoidance helped to prevent any crashes. However, I've seen other videos where the obstacle avoidance doesn't work well with detecting thin branches or twigs, so you shouldn't rely totally on its obstacle avoidance.
The obstacle avoidance knows to avoid the trees. I'm going to try to walk into the trees again. Okay, there are some branches there.
Obstacle detected. Aircraft will temporarily change follow direction.
Next, I tried using it with my eScooter. It handled the following well, even up to 25 km/h. I made sure I used the cycling mode for this. It handled the following well, even up to 29 km/h, but I made sure I used the cycling follow mode for this. The Neo 2 has a top speed of 43 km/h, which well exceeds my eScooter. It's definitely better at following from the front than the original Neo. In my previous test, the original Neo struggled to stay in front of my scooter and had a tendency to wander off to the side when I increased speed, even though I had set it to follow from the front. I did have some difficulty getting it to land on my palm at the end. I'm not sure if this was because I was wearing bicycle gloves or if it was some other reason. I ended up using my smartphone to make it land. You can use the RC-N3 or RC2 remote with the Neo 2. It pretty much works similar to the DJI Mini Series drone. One notable difference is that if you are using gesture control or smartphone control, the Neo 2 can only track you as a person or on a bicycle. It can't track cars. But if you use a remote controller, you can have the additional option for focus track on vehicles, which is something the original Neo can't do. However, I doubt this will be used much, as the Neo 2 has a max speed of 43 km/h in follow mode, and the car would greatly exceed this speed. Flying the Neo 2 with the FPV motion controller is similar to what's available in the Neo. Very intuitive and easy to fly in tight spaces. It also has the easy acro mode that came with the Avatar 2. You also have the option to record videos with gyro data, which can then be stabilized in the free GyroFlow app, giving you buttery smooth video. The Neo 2 also comes with manual acro mode if you have the FPV Remote Controller 3. You will need to update the Neo 2 firmware for this to enable manual mode. After that, you'll need to enable manual control in the goggles settings. The advantage of learning to fly manual is that you can perform dives and flips, as you have full control over the drone. I tried it out, but today was pretty gusty, so it probably isn't a good demonstration for the Neo. I really struggled to keep it steady, but in the end I gave up. I couldn't quite notice any performance improvements for the Neo in manual, but today isn't a good day for a performance test. In summary, the Neo 2 is a great upgrade over the first DJI Neo. I feel this is a great drone for beginners, travel vloggers, cyclists, or FPV beginners. If you are interested in getting the Neo 2 or any of the accessories you've seen me use, please do use my link in the video description, as it helps me out and doesn't cost you extra. Thanks for watching.